Hello, 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 you guys. This is week 5. It's Thursday, May the 19th, and we are doing our follow-up for week 5. It is not going to be long. I pray that you guys are having a fabulous week. It's not even 10 o'clock. It's exactly 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's already like 75 degrees. So it's hot. It is going to be a hot day today. But by faith, God will help me keep my cool and allow me to do those things that I need to do to get done. And this is one of them, to check in with you guys to see how you're doing. I pray that your faith is allowing you to stand firm. I pray that your faith is allowing you to stand strong. I pray that your faith is causing you to rely on God for everything, because that is the title of our week 5 chapter, is Faith is Relying on God. So how is it going? It mentions 2 scriptures for us to kind of sort of figure out for us, where are we in our faith? When God tells us in Jeremiah 29:11 that the plans that he has for us, he knows them. For one, they're to prosper us, to set us up to win. How are you in trusting in that? How are you in relying on God when you don't see that happening, when you may not see that happening right now, this very time? In Romans 8:28, how does that speak to you? That God is working everything out for the good of those who love him. And if you love him, he's got it all worked out. He's working that out for the good of those who love him. It causes us to rely on God and to put our trust, all of our trust, our total trust in him. Our leading verse and passage is coming from James chapter 1, verse 6-8. It says, when you ask, you must believe and not doubt. We talked a little bit about belief and how belief is the opposite of doubt, and how God views you if you are in the mindset of doubting. You know, what he says here in this passage is that person should not expect to receive anything. You know, sometimes we can be our worst enemy when it comes to growth, when it comes to faith, when it comes to change, when it comes to forgiveness and believing. We can be our own worst enemy. And what I mean by that is God is always with us. We've learned that in the previous chapters, how he's near and dear to us, how we need to get to know him, and how he thinks and what he thinks about us and what we think about ourselves. He tells us in the scriptures that if we stay close to Jesus, if we remain in the vine, we'll do things even greater than what Jesus did in his day and time. And a lot of us still have trouble with wrapping our minds around that, with wrapping our hearts around that. And if you're still wrestling with that, stay in the fight. I'm not going to tell you to stop wrestling with that, because that's a good fight to be in. You're not fighting against someone else. You're not comparing yourself against someone else. You're fighting with this innate internal struggle with trying to believe and understand that you can possibly do greater things than what Jesus did. But if God gave you that promise, and if you're remaining in him, if you're reading your Bible, and I'm not saying sit down and read chapters and chapters and chapters at a time every day. Sometimes it just takes one verse, as long as you're spending time in your Bible to build your spiritual muscle, you're going to get there. You're going to find that you're fighting less with yourself, because you want to be on the same accord as God. You want to be aligned with God. You want to look at yourself and you want to line up the scriptures and say, is my life, is my life comparing or adding up to what the scriptures say. And God will let you know. Trust me, he helps us. He doesn't force us. He helps us. And when you have a willing heart and when you have a willing mind to allow God to be in all of the details, he'll do just that. He'll help you. He won't meet you halfway. He'll meet you 3/4 of the way. It'll seem effortless. Isn't it amazing that when you take on a challenge that you've never done before, that you may be unfamiliar with, but you take on that challenge because you want to challenge yourself to take your service higher or to take your knowledge higher. And then once you involve everything about yourself in it, your knowledge, your skills, your expertise, your time, your money, your friends, your resources, how that one challenge becomes effortless. Is God helping you? And he helps us. So for this week, as you are pondering the 5 statements that I gave you today, for this week's challenge, and faith is relying on God, I want you to really focus on, again, allowing God to be in all of the details, but relying on God's power, not your power, relying on God's power to bring into fruition the promises that he has set forth and laid forth for you. And I want to hear about those later on in this project. We're just in week 5, but think about how much you've learned already about your own faith and listening to others share about their faith and where they are and how encouraged they are for being in this small group. You know, amazing things can happen in small groups. That's why I love this small group. I love that you guys have signed up to be a part of this ministry. It's not my ministry, this is our ministry, and we are growing together. So I want to let you guys know that this Sunday, I'll see you guys this Sunday, but it'll be earlier. This Sunday, I want to broadcast at 4:00 because Eddie and I have a concert to go to, an outdoor concert to see the Ohio Players in War. So, and that starts at 7. So we want to leave out of here at least before 6. And I know our regularly scheduled broadcasts on Sundays usually start at 6. So hopefully you guys will be available to join me at 4:00 p.m. this Sunday on the 22nd. And we will go ahead and dive into week 6, which is faith is forgiven. I haven't even jumped ahead to start reading about chapter 6. But I'm going to do that momentarily. And I look forward to meeting with you guys on Sunday. Enjoy this follow-up. Take care and have a fabulous week.